Okay, it's 5:30. I will call the meeting to order. I'd like to start by acknowledging that this meeting is respectfully held on the traditional territory of the Psychiatric First Nation, on whose land we live, work, and play. We have an agenda circulated. I have one addition, which is a notice of motion under councillor items. Any other additions or deletions? Could I get somebody to move that we adopt as amended?
Move to adopt that.
All in favor? Carried. We have the minutes from February 10th, both the regular council meeting and the public hearing. Would somebody like to move adoption? All in favor? Carried. We have no bylaws or delegations tonight, so we go straight on to CAO reports. 6.1 Heritage Site Designation Amendment by Law 1281.
So this is
I
really just.
think, oh, no, I don't. I think it's asleep.
I could talk. This report is just to add the last 3 buildings at the museum site to the Heritage Registry. They were moved onto the site since the last buildings were registered. So this is just for 3 readings of the bylaw.
Hey, does somebody want to move first, second, and third? Any discussion? All in favor? That's passed. Oh. Can we do that? You're on.
Okay, just going through the buildings and that have been identified. Is there a way within the current bylaw to add additional buildings that we have in the municipality that may meet the heritage status?
Oh, in the future.
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
We could do that? Okay,
Yeah,
that's,
in the future
perfect.
if we want.
Yeah, great, thank you.
And I would like to ask one question about that too. Not just buildings that are moved to that ground, but if we identify a heritage building in another area,
Then we would probably do a separate bylaw.
separate bylaw for that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Okay, 6.2 NCLGA. We've got a recommendation there. Somebody like to make a motion? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? And that is carried. 6.3, we have the RDBN ESS agreement we know. You want to speak to it?
This is a reoccurring agreement and it's pretty standard. So our ESS team provides services to the regional district, primarily area F. And so, yeah, it's just basically a mutual support agreement.
I'll move it.
Do we have a seconder? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Okay, RDBN grant application for pump track. We have a recommendation there. Or do you want to talk to it?
No.
Okay. You have a motion? Seconder? Any discussion? All in favor? And that's carried. Councillor items. Oh, no, sorry, information items first. We've got the council priorities there just to remind us of where we want to get to and how we plan to get there. Correspondence. Then we have councillor items. Let's start with Councillor Lozay. I think your mic's asleep. Well, it's waking up. We'll go to Councillor Young.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Just a couple of things. Last week on the 21st, kind of both a school district and a council thing and to a degree, just had a meeting with CNC at the Prince George campus talking about more opportunities for our students, mostly secondary level, but also it ties into some of the components that we want to be offering here in locally. And I know we've heard quite a bit from CNC in the past 6 months around some more focused on our region, which is really exciting. And obviously with a change in the student visas that are going to be granted over the next few years, there's much more of a focus going to be on serving the local needs in order to make up in the shortfall of really have students on their campus. So I think it's an exciting time right now for our students. And the opportunity to have dual credits. So it's a big thing that parents are going to start hearing more about, having the opportunity to take a college level, especially a 100 level course while they're still in high school. And when it's dual credit means it gives them credit towards a degree, but also high school credit. So just in a nutshell, I just thought that's, we've talked about this for almost a decade and I brought that up a few times that, yeah, I'm glad we're past the point of just talking and we're really moving forward with that. So that's, we have been doing some of that already with some CTC models, but this is going to be another step. So that's exciting. And then the only other thing I had was today's community meeting with Psychas, which I thought was a good meeting and positive in nature. So it's good to attend that.
Thank you. Cindy.
Okay, so February 11th, we had a meeting with CNC, and so I'm just going to piggyback. I think it makes a lot of sense that we're that students can get dual credits in high school for trades or careers that they would like in the future, and I think that it provides them incentive to stay in school. It makes sense to them, and I'm really glad to hear that. You're working on that through the school district, and sure happy to support that. February 12th, we had a community forest meeting. And on February 16th, the Nechako Nordics had their free ski and barbecue, which I attended. And I was really happy that the district supported that because it was really well attended. I think they used up all their food and it was a beautiful day and just exhibited the diversity in our community too that I really appreciated because we had lots of folks that I don't think have skied before, have been around snow very much. So it was really nice to see that. And then on February 18th, we had a library board meeting. They are rehired and another they had somebody who's been there for a few years leaving, so they had a little bit of difficulty finding someone, but they are happy that they have replaced that position. And they're still, going over the service agreements, so that's a good thing too. So that's it.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Vandola.
Thanks. Just got back from a 2-week vacation in Aruba, so I'll have to go back a bit. Did attend a water engagement initiative meeting on January 30th. Essentially, Andrew from Rio Tinto provided some background information on the agreements that were signed with the nations in the area there, and then briefly talked about the projects that are anticipating. The main one is the Tats and Narrows dredging. Essentially to give them more freeboard in the reservoir area to give them more options. Currently, the physical bottom of the dredge narrows is 2,782 feet. They'd like to get dredge that down to 2,770, so that would give them additional 12 feet of volume to provide both water into the narrows to get the water flowing to the powerhouse there. And then they're also looking at a cold water release, which it would include another powerhouse station. Right now, that's just a kind of a concept project that will require a shared funding model. But they've been looking at what the potential cost of that project would be, and so far it's been estimated about $1 billion to get that going. So, hence the necessity for funding shared funding model. And that's it for me.
So, Councillor Bulmer.
On the 11th, I also attended, the meeting with the College of New Caledonia and found it quite exciting. And I was really glad to hear they followed up over at the high school there, Ken. Also I went to the community forests meeting, got an update on that. Also on the 12th of February, then I attended the annual general meeting and the regular meeting of the Nechaka Valley Historical Society. So in the annual general meeting, Sharon Bennett let her name stand for president, Dan Davidson again as treasurer, and Julie Ephraim as a director to go forward to join the others. So they've got a really strong board over at the Historical Society right now. More people are joining the board, more people are getting involved in it. And I think we've got a really good crew working over there now. The regular meeting, they worked on that grant. They're working on a grant for the playground for us at the museum site. They've received support for that from, of course, us, DOV, School District 91, the chamber, and the men's shed. So all of that happened that day. On the 18th, we had a joint meeting of the Historical Society, the Chamber of Commerce, and myself, as well as some staff, Carol and Jeannie, actually, from the DOV. We attended an initial meeting to look at the 100-year birthday and celebrations, what we'll be doing here. And basically, we decided that someone is going to spearhead it, but we're going to be talking to all of the other groups that are involved in our town. We'll be talking to the exhibition, the air show, the car show people, all of that kind of stuff to get involved in next year's stuff. So at this time, a lot of things up in the air, but they're talking about parade, fireworks, tug of war, oldest living person who was born here, that kind of thing. Looking at all kinds of things for next year for our 100th. On the 18th that evening, I went to the Chamber of Commerce meeting. They moved their meeting up a couple of days, so they're getting ready for their annual general meeting as well, which is coming up shortly. There are 22 folks at that time who have already registered for the AGM. And I didn't know what happened with this meeting, but after that meeting, I know Shelley and someone else was going to meet with Waleed and Rod on the cardboard. And so that happened as well, but I wasn't part of that meeting. And then on the 20th, I was actually honored to be a judge at the Engaging Speakers Competition for 922 Squadron of the Air Cadets here in Vanderhoof. 4 speakers are registered. One ended up with that horrible pneumonia that's going around and couldn't make it. So we were down to 3. They'd all did really, really well, and had a difficult time judging them. Ms. Pavon, and I forget her first name. I'm so sorry. I forget her first name. She was our winner, and she'll be representing us at the provincials in April. And just a note that Vanderhoof is the only squadron in the Air Cadets, in all of the cadets actually, in northern BC, who took part in this year's speaking program. So I thought that was a good feather in our cap. And so I hope Ms. Pavone will be really good at the April provincials when she goes down there. And then on the Friday, I went and watched my grandson play basketball. That was fun. That's it for me.
Perfect. Councillor Martins.
Yeah, not very much for me either. Just a couple of things. I was at that February 12th conference meeting too, and I thought that was good. You learn more every time I'm there, and it's good to see they're working hard on it. And I was also encouraged by the CNC thing that you talked about there. And there's another CNC meeting coming up in the near future here, isn't there? An open house day or something? And I thought that was good too, because the CEO was going to be there for that day too. So we had a bit of a connection with her, so that would be a good place to make contact. So I thought that was kind of good. Do you know the dates? Anybody know the date that
Thursday.
is coming, like this week? Yeah, good. Yeah, and that's it for me. Thanks.
Perfect. Well, I'll start there, and it will be good if some of you can attend that. Unfortunately, it's a regional district day, so I'll be in Burns Lake, so unable to go there. Most of the things people have touched on as we go forward. Glad to hear that planning's underway for the 100th anniversary. I think that's something we really need to make sure we celebrate well and do something on the day and then through the year afterwards, right? It's a good thing to do. Just to reiterate, I thought the CNC meeting went really well that we had here, and I really felt good after that, so that's good to go. COM4 again was a great meeting and, you know, really looking into those stands and what commercial thinning could mean, I think is really exciting. So I really, and I agree with you, I'm learning more and more about forestry all the time. So it's an interesting trip. Moving forward, just so everybody knows, we just confirmed today that I do have a meeting with Minister Parmar to talk about forestry on the 12th coming up. On that too, that's going to be in Victoria. So I'm reaching out and Minister Osborne's been texting me back while we've been sitting here. So we'll see if I have a meeting with her. She couldn't do the 12th, but it might be the 11th, the day before. We're trying to work on that. And I'll also reach out to Minister Ma. Want to push both of those on, you know, the replacement of our hospital, making sure that that's on the agenda. We know some timelines, but, you know, making sure we're really keeping a push on that to get that facility replaced. I think one of the things that's really important, and saying this as much for the gallery here, is, as you all know it, you know, that hospital was designed for early 1970s. A new hospital is going to have so many more amenities and so many more technology available. It'll be a huge difference, right? So it really needs to be on our forefront that we get that replaced as soon as possible. That's it for that. So then we have the notice of motion, and that's coming from myself. And that is that the District of Vanderhoof's contribution to the National Indigenous Peoples Day event be a line item in the 2025 and future budgets, and that the amount discussed during the amount be discussed during the 2025 budget deliberations. We could discuss that today if we have a motion, so putting it forward, right?
Generally, notices of motions go to the next council meeting, but it's up to council. You can also discuss it tonight. So you just have to make a resolution to discuss it. Then you can discuss it and then vote on the motion if you like. Procedure.
I'll make a resolution.
Seconder was, okay. All in favor? Carried. Okay, discussion. So is that's to discuss it tonight, but we
So you can
make a motion
tell them
then.
what it's about.
Okay,
while you're introducing it.
So basically, after we reinvigorated National Indigenous Peoples Day events, we came to the agreement that we were going to do 1 year in our community, 1 year in Psychiatric, but that never got put through, so it was in a budget item. So every year we come to it and it's like, but we have no budget. So this is just putting that forward so that we actually have a line item that then we have a budget to be able to spend, both for costs for the event and accounting for that staff in-kind time, stage, all that kind of stuff that goes out every year too, right? So that just needs to be captured inside a budget somewhere. That we'll go to Councilor Van Dola first, and we'll come
Yeah,
back to
no, this is
Lozic.
a great idea. I mean, it was kind of hurt my heart a bit when we met with Psychas in November, and we kind of briefly talked about that, where they were saying that, you know, the idea was we were going to alternate, and that's never have happened, and they've kind of carried the ball the last couple of years in a row. And I think it's our turn to step up and make it happen.
Councilor Lozic?
So that was my question around the alternating, because has it been out at Psychas? In my, or is it, I thought
They've hosted in.
they host it and in that, and it will continue to be in Vanderhoof, just,
Not
or
necessarily.
not necessarily? Oh, okay.
That's to be determined.
Oh, I see. Okay, so we're still gonna try and do it. Okay, no, that's fine. That was my only question. Yeah.
So do we need a separate resolution to have that happen? So if we want to make this go forward, we need a resolution or a motion that we put this to budget.
I'll make a motion that.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Awesome. That leads us to adjournment of the regular meeting.